I didn't have any friends on the other teams. For me, anger was good. Anger was good because it was motivating. The more I could create an enemy, the more I wanted to go out and kill those guys. Now, I knew I wasn't gonna kill them physically, but man, if I could just, what did they say? You know, and what did they look like? Did they disrespect me at all? Those are little things that can get me right in the emotional frame of mind that when I ran on the field and I said, let's fucking go. It was really, let's go kick some ass. Was never, I would say, like a prodigy. You know, I wasn't like the kid where you see Tiger Woods swinging on the Johnny Carson show at 2 or 3 years old, and you know his swing looks as good as it did at 3 years old as it did, you know, as he grew older. I saw myself as someone who probably had some other traits that maybe were hard to identify, but that were really sustainable over time, which was, I would say, work ethic and discipline. My dad was out to work every morning, you know, trying to go make a living for our family. And my mom woke up every day trying to figure out how to make sure the home was comfortable for us and, you know, to support the kids. So I didn't know how to put the pads on in my pants when I tried out for freshman football. I mean, I had never played until that point except in the street. So these kids came out there, they had, you know, helmets and shoulder pads that they had worn for 4 years through Pop Warner. And I went on the field and I was like, I'm going to get killed out here. You know, and my freshman year, I didn't even play. I was the backup quarterback on a team that went 0-8. The reason why I played my second year was because that quarterback quit because he's like, I'm not playing football anymore. We suck. I'm going to focus on basketball. So naturally, I was like, oh, cool. I'll continue to, you know, work on my skill because I actually had a halfway decent arm. But a lot of it was even going into my second year in high school. There were workouts in the morning at 6 a.m. before school. And I was like, okay, I can get up at 6 a.m. and I can go do these rope drills where you'd run through the ropes. You see a lot of people do that. There were these hills that we would run up. And there was probably less than 10 people there, but I was probably one of the 3 that were there almost every single day to try to continue to push myself to grow in these maybe physical areas that I was really behind a lot of the other people at. Because naturally, no one's good at everything. I mean, that's just not the way life works. We're all talented at certain things, but we can really continue to improve our weaknesses if we're humble enough to identify them, and we can build on our strengths. My freshman year in football, I didn't even play. Literally didn't play. Maybe 2 or 3 passes. The coach from the sideline screamed at me one time my freshman year, "Brady, you're moving in slow motion." And I was slow as shit. There was a blessing in my life that I would say, you know, some of the things I blessed with hard work, discipline. You know what I was also blessed with? Being very naive. I had no idea how hard it was. But I believed because I was like, oh, no, like I'm gonna get better and I'm gonna be better. Well, going into my 4th year in high school, I was recruited, but not like a lot of the top kids. I send these tapes out, and there's a little bit of buzz about me, and I start getting recruited. And I get these letters, and I got offered a scholarship to UCLA. And then they turned me away at the last minute because another kid signed before me. And I really wanted to go to USC. That was probably my first choice, but they didn't want me either. They signed another kid who was one of the top recruits on the West Coast. So then I went to Michigan. I show up. They walked me into the big house. And it's called the Big House for a reason. There's 102,000 people in there on a college football Saturday. Now it's expanded to like 112,000. It's incredible. And I walked through the tunnel at midfield, and they go, from Sarah High School in San Mateo, Tom Brady. And I looked up and I was like, I want to go to fucking school here. If I want to be the best, I got to beat the best. And this is where the best are. So I showed up on campus as a freshman in the fall of 1995. I was the 7th quarterback on the depth chart. There were 6 other guys ahead of me, and they were all better than me. We had another athlete who was in my freshman class at Michigan, Charles Woodson. And Charles showed up on campus. He had a goatee. He looked like a Greek god. And I was like, how am I in the same locker room as this guy? I realized, man, if I want to be good, I gotta wake up in the morning. I gotta do the extra work. And I got to show up when other guys aren't. And I've got to learn. I've got to continue to be open to learning. And my freshman year, I redshirted. Never played, barely practiced, but I learned a lot. My second year, I had improved a lot physically through that work, but I ended up becoming the third quarterback in my second year. My third year, I was competing to be a starter. And because I had learned to compete in high school, and I learned to compete my first 2 years in college. In fact, I almost thought about leaving Michigan. And in my second year, I got a call from Steve Mariucci at Cal, and he said, Tom, if you come here, you can start for us. And you're going into your third year. If you leave Michigan, you can come here and you can start for us. And of course, Cal was one of my great choices. I thought, shit, I could go home and be a starter. And I walked into Coach Carr's office, the head coach at Michigan at the time. And I said, Coach, what's my situation like? And he said, Brady, I want you to stop worrying about what all the other players on our team are doing. All you do is you focus on the starter, the second guy. You don't worry about what you're focused on. You came here to be the best. I want you at this program, and if you're gonna be the best, you gotta beat out the best. I would complain all the time that the guys ahead of me were getting more opportunity than I was. There was a certain amount of repetitions in practice. The starter would get 20, the backup would get 10, and I would get 2. And I'd go in and I'd say, well, how can I ever get better? All these guys get all the reps and I only get 2. And he said, just go in there and focus with the 2 that you got and make them as perfect as you possibly can. So I said, okay. They'd put me in for those 2. Man, I'd sprint in there like it was Super Bowl 49. Let's go, boys, here we go. What play we got? And I did really well with those 2 because I brought enthusiasm, I brought some energy, and I had a little more confidence in myself. And it went from 2 reps to getting 4 reps because those 2 were pretty good. Then I had 4 good reps. Then I got 10 good reps. It wasn't probably like a typical college experience because I was really motivated to play, but I had to take it to a new level that the other guys wouldn't. So going into my 4th year, now I had competed freshman year, sophomore year, going into my 3rd year. And I had learned these tools to compete. And I said, whatever they asked me to do, that's what I'm gonna do to the best of my ability. And I went in there, I competed really hard my 3rd year, and I lost the starting job to Brian Greasy. And Brian Greasy led the team to a 12-0 national championship that year. So I was part of a national championship team and I barely played. So I go into my 4th year and I was like, now's my time. I worked hard to compete my first 3 years. Going into my 4th year, I got a great opportunity to play. And I worked hard. It's time for me to come. And they recruited a kid named Drew Henson, who was one of the top prospects in the country from Michigan, right next door to University of Michigan. And here he was coming in the door that everyone knew about. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So all the fans and all the media, they weren't interested in Tom Brady, backup quarterback to Brian Greasy, Tom Brady, backup quarterback to Scott Dreisbach his first year, or Scott Dreisbach his second year. Now we have Drew Henson coming in. And I was like, the competition's relentless. At first I was looking at the guys ahead of me. Now I got to be looking down at the guys behind me too. But I said, you know what? I'm going to apply the same thing that I had learned in those previous years. I'm going to go out there and compete as hard as I can. And I'm going to treat practice like a game. And I'm going to gain the respect of my teammates every day through my work ethic. I'm going to work hard in the weight room. I'm going to work hard in the film room. I'm going to work hard to be a good student. And going into my 4th year, it was a little bit of a battle. And my teammates named me team captain. And I won the starting job. And we had a good year. We finished 10-3. In our bowl game, we played in the Citrus Bowl, and we came back from I think it was a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter, and to win the game. It was a tough battle for me. It was a tough go. It was tough in high school. It was really tough in college. There was a lot of stress. Nothing was given to me. I didn't take the easy way out going to Cal and saying, God, that could be really easy, close to home. My mom can do my laundry, and everyone can come to the game. I can start. I stuck it out at Michigan where it was 10 degrees in the wintertime, and it was a lot of tough competition. So, of course, now I'm going to the NFL draft, and I'm like, all these pro coaches must have seen how good I was. Man, I'm going to be a 2nd-round pick. And, round 1, 2, and here we go. 6th round, pick 199. And I was like, all right, I'm going to make all those other teams pay. Here I go. I get picked by the New England Patriots in the 6th round, 199. And I always joke, when they called me, they said, hey, Tom, this is, Bill Belichick. We're, pick you in the 6th round, like we'll see you Monday, like get ready to go. There are 3 quarterbacks ahead of me. Sound familiar? So I was number 4. And Bill Belichick kept me as the 4th quarterback in my first year. Now, like there was just cuts the other day, they keep 2 quarterbacks most of the time on an NFL roster now. Bill Belichick saw something in me. This kid's probably not ready to play, but, I like him. He's kind of tough and, he doesn't look that athletic, but, he throws the ball pretty well and he seems to really enjoy the game. So I'm going to keep him on the roster. I'm 4th on the depth chart. And I finally see Drew Bledsoe throw the ball for the first time. And in my very naive, competitive way, because he signed a 10-year, $100 million contract with the New England Patriots when I was making $185,000, I looked at him and I go, I could throw the ball better than that. Which I was the only one on the field who saw that, and I wasn't, but I had a belief that I could. If I worked the same way, and if I gained the trust and respect of my teammates in the same way, that if I ever did get that position, and I told this to my best friend, who was one of my roommates in college, I said, if they ever put me on the field, they're never going to take me off the field. And they never did. What does culture mean to me? Do we care about each other, and do we care about what we're trying to accomplish? Most people just care about themselves. And you just care about your own personal situation. Even like the culture of like the armed forces, our military. Like you show up to the Naval Academy, like, man, that's a culture. Like, and people are accountable to that. They show up every day, they show up on time, they respect each other. Everyone's probably got different tenets that they believe in, but the fundamental belief is I'm giving myself to something greater than myself. Nothing in life can be accomplished in a big way without teamwork. Teamwork is what it's all about. You show up every day, you play your role, you do your best, and then you communicate about it. And then you have people that hold you accountable to the results. And if the results aren't good enough, then you re-strategize or you get rid of some people and you move on. So I think what we are fortunate enough to develop over an early period of time in New England was a culture of a lot of teammates that may not have been the best like myself, but we cared a lot. We worked really hard. We were really coachable, and we won. And then some other players were like, dude, that's what I want. I want to win. They joined our program. So then we had, which is really important, you need people that drive the culture, because it just can't be you. Because when you turn your back to focus on what you got to do, you need other people driving the culture too. And we developed a culture of culture drivers. Willie McGinnis, Teddy Bruschi, Mike Vrabel. It was inherent to what the team ultimately ended up becoming. We all drove the culture. And then no one was going to f*** it up. So you got some people that came in from other places, and man, they might have had maybe a certain reputation, and they realized that when they got in that locker room, I can't make bad decisions here. I never once in my life ever said I wanted to be the best of all time. Ever. I wanted to be the best I could be, period. It didn't matter what the other guys were doing. I had to look in the mirror every night. Be proud of the man in the glass. Be proud of that man that wakes up every day and does the best that he could do with his priorities, and a lot of things happen in our life. We all face our challenges and adversities, and we all go through things, and I think life is about dealing with a lot of things that you didn't want to have happen in your life, whether it's your business or whether it's sports or whether it's personal or, children. And like I said, we all have our unique challenges, but do the best you can do. Show up every day and make the commitment to yourself and the people that count on you, the people that support you. And through a lot of failures, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to hopefully be humbled, because sometimes, you give your best and it doesn't work. And I learned that in sports, and you learn it in life in different ways too. Sometimes you do what you do, you try your best, you work hard, but it just doesn't in the end go the way you want. So what are you going to do? Quit? You're going to just blame everyone else? You're going to go in there and blame the guy next door and blame that person and blame the dog and go out there and sleep until 10 o'clock? Or are you going to get out of bed, wake up, and go do something about it?